Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Cinema Cycle Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Carney, joined by
John Wollescroft.
And we are live in person, not live online, but live in person at the Eerie Horror Fest. And we are joined by an amazing filmmaker, actor, writer, director, Josh Ruben.
Hello.
You might know him from a little movie called Hard Eyes.
But you know me from a little movie called
Scare Me.
What? My first one? My baby?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So this is absolutely incredible. When I heard we were going to interview, I'm like, wait a minute. This guy, not only, loves to combine horror and comedy in a way that honestly resonates, because I'll be the first question I have for you is, comedy is such a subjective thing.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone has their own tastes, and horror is such a subjective thing. And what I noticed with Hard Eyes and even Scare Me is that you have a way of melding the two together. So how do you as a filmmaker, as a writer, do that?
Casting.
Your
cast has to be so on the same page to not play the joke. You'll hear a lot of directors talk about this even with any type of film, even in comedy. It's like, if you play the joke, you're so dead in the water.
Yeah.
But you're really dead in the water with horror if you get caught trying to be funny because there's serious shit happening, right? You've got a werewolf outside or you've got vampires trying to get in the roof or whatever it is. So my cast, I always tell them, don't get caught trying to be funny. I often don't have to tell them that. I maybe never had, but that's kind of my motto, and play the horror for real. And that's how you end up not shortchanging any genre. With Hard Eyes, it's as much a Nora Ephron homage. I love Nora Ephron as much as I love Jason Lives. You know what I mean? So, or I should say, I love Nora Ephron as much as Tommy McLaughlin. But it's a lot of cast, and it's treating the music very sincerely, really doing your best with sound design, really kicking its ass across the board to not shortchange it.
Yeah.
No, for you coming from comedy, I was actually very surprised, checking this out and realizing, you were not the writer on this. So I have to ask, from somebody who comes from a comedy background doing a horror movie that has so much comedy to it, what brought you to this project? What attracted it to you? How was it brought to your attention?
It was exactly like I had just mentioned. I saw it as an opportunity to do an honest to God genre mashup that seems impossible.
It does.
And there was a moment where I was like, I don't know. I remember the moment actually on set. There was a moment when the two girls are talking at a cafe. They're having work drinks, and I was like, this feels the most chick flick in the best way, I think, movie. I'm like, how is this going to be the same movie as one where a girl gets her head absolutely crushed in a wine press? I don't know.
Well, you even have the whole thing where she's like, I've got a sugar daddy. Don't call it a sugar daddy. He's not a sugar daddy. He paid off my credit card debt.
He's a sponsor.
He's a sponsor.
So Michael Kennedy, the writer of another great horror comedy directed by Chris Landon, Freaky, he sent it to me. He's like, we're looking for a director, and I read the first, 10 or so pages, and I was like, this is too funny. This is honestly way funnier than I'm interested in doing. But then when I really thought about it, I was like, oh wait, there's a way to legitimately make this Pretty Woman, make this My Best Friend's Wedding, make this all the great films that I love, and an homage to a filmmaker like Nora, but also make a Jason Voorhees flick. And I was really excited about that.
Yeah.
So how hard is it to, I guess, for lack of a better word, live up to the hook? The idea that Hard Eyes every year kills people on Valentine's Day in a new city. Is I hate to say it because we're going to do an episode here, a live episode on Stephen King products. And sometimes, Stephen has this brilliant premise that doesn't live up to the expectation. But this movie does. So is there almost a fear of having this brilliant hook and that hopefully it can live up to that, what I would call an elevator pitch of every year he goes to a new city and, takes out a new group of people?
You could. I mean, it didn't bug me a whole lot. I made friends. I'm the mayor now of Eerie. I didn't think too much about that. I mean, I just saw this as a crazy cool opportunity. What I'm loving, today, even being here in Eerie, and I'm sure there will be tonight, there are people who are already dressing up like this character, and so it's the mask is so fantastic. like that's an homage to or the major props to Tony Gardner, who did the mask for God, Totally Killer and Freaky, and worked on the Blob and Darkman. I mean, he's such an icon in his own right. And so we're seeing people cosplay already, and that's how you know you've made a bit of an impact. And so I'm not thinking too much about it.
Well, I wanted to touch on that a little bit. So one of the things that I think is very important for any type of movie, but especially a horror film, is the idea of world building. And when I was watching Hard Eyes the other night, one thing that spoke to me is you managed to build an entire universe for this character to live in, right? Like you've got the HK, the HEK, killer. You've got the news stories that everyone, like even when the lead character is going to the restaurant and they've got the metal detectors. I'm like, you've built a world for this character to exist in, and you've built rules. What was the challenge like? Obviously, you're adapting someone else's screenplay. What was the challenge like as a filmmaker to kind of build this world and build these rules for you?
It wasn't terribly challenging. It was exciting, honestly, to think about what would it really be like if we lived in a world where we knew every Valentine's Day it was a little unsafe for those of us who were in relationships to be out there. And I also really, really love the detail of the bipolarizing nature of Valentine's Day and how like couples and PDA is excruciating. They can, even as someone who's happily married, I'm like, man, Valentine's Day is so, and sometimes couples and the pressure of like, you have to be in a relationship, and why aren't you in a relationship? Or there's the social pressures of that are ridiculous. And so it was really exciting to kind of think about and throttle the details in a world where it's basically there's all this relatable shit. I mean, we're touching on a bunch of relatable feels.
Definitely.
We all have, like I was supposed to get chocolate,
Well, I did want to touch on, because I mentioned at the top of the episode, Scare Me.
Yeah.
Okay? So Scare Me, I mentioned this before we started recording. Scare Me was a movie that my wife and we discovered it on Shudder when it was in the middle of the pandemic. So like, not exactly the most fun, but we were looking for a comedy horror kick and found your film and absolutely loved it. Cracked up the whole time. That was like your first film, the first real film, right? And you were coming from comedy, from CollegeHumor, right?
Oh, yeah.
What was that experience like, transversing from that to now doing not only a feature, but feature horror?
It was amazing. I mean, what I realized having made hundreds and hundreds of videos, genre parodies, music videos, you name it, for CollegeHumor, for Funny or Die, for Vimeo, for whatever, is that it's kind of all the same thing, just the production of it, but you have more stuff, more toys, more this, that, and the other thing. And by the time I'd done Scare Me, I was a pretty full-blown commercial director who had every problem you can have on set, worked with every type of crew member, knew pretty much my way around the lighting and this, that, and the other thing. And, technically, no one will know that we just posed for a photo, and I'm just.
They will know on the video. They will know on the video.
They'll know on the video. It was pretty seamless. Wildly, like most people, they talk about how Herzog, their first film, can be, and how, there's a better example. It was like, what was that, Fitzcarraldo? Like how Fitzcarraldo, your first film, can be. We did have blizzards. We did have vans roll into ditches, and we had batteries get broken and all kinds of stuff. But for me, it was so set up. The crew is so awesome that I was able to just set the day up and direct while I'm in the scene.
Yeah.
Someone who's as brilliant as Aya Cash or Chris Redd or Becky Drysdale, and just kind of let them have the floor. So it was honestly seamless. It was frustratingly seamless, probably for people who were like, your first film was seamless? But I think because I'd had tougher productions doing Tide commercials than my tiny little black box play movie.
And Aya Cash, right before she blew up from The Boys. I'd seen The Boys, and then I saw that she was in Scare Me. Yeah. I'm like, I got to check this out.
Yep.
Stormfront,
baby.
Stormfront. Yeah.
There's a beautiful thing of if you got enough time, you got enough money, and you surround yourself with people. Those are the three ingredients to make it work. Now, My hometown is Edinburgh, and you're probably thinking, what? Who? Why? What's he talk about?
What's in Edinburgh?
Now, but you you grew up in a very interesting hometown where I think nobody wants to eat the brown acid. So what is it like growing up in such a famous, for people who don't know, you grew up in Woodstock, New York.
Woodstock, New York. They didn't have the concert there. They just took the name to, was it Bethel, New York? So there are like kind of burned out hippies, or there were when I was growing up. Now it's unfortunately, a lot of city bros. It's getting over gentrified for country hamlet. There's still really nice artistic culture there. Like the Woodstock Film Festival is beautifully run. It was just very like arts centric, and so it was like what started my acting career. Honestly, as a kid who moved from Potomac, Maryland, to Woodstock, New York. You know what was going to be like the East Coast Silicon Valley to this little like arts hamlet. It was really incredible, and it also like. Living surrounded by woods and watching horror movies and being a Freddy Krueger lover is one of many examples. Gave me such incredible imagination and so many ideas. And my cousin and I used to tell each other a story of Wolfula, who was like a Dracula wolf who'd live in, like we would just go nuts. And so bringing some of that magic back with both, not only with Scare Me, but my second film, Werewolves Within, like we both got to shoot it in this magical hamlet, in the Hudson Valley. I don't know. There's just something about it.
So you got into comedy with your friend Sam Reich. Now, in my opinion, comedy is the hardest genre to pull off successfully. What got you into comedy? Was it just a natural for you, or did you just need to get the fuck out of Best Buy?
I need it, dude. Deep cut, dude. I was already funny at Best Buy because, but my manager Keith Mooney.
Oh, you're like calling him out and everything.
Keith Moody. Keith Moody.
Keith Moody.
I'll call you out, Keith. I'm sure he won't reach out to me. I hope he's still around. But anyway, that'd be pretty morbid. But Keith would not have found it as funny as I did when I was like, I'm going to go make more money doing background on Elf than I will do an inventory. But anyway, I was always funny. I was always a funny kid, and I was a bullied kid who'd use humor to disarm my bullies.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it was always my secret weapon. And now the cool thing is just being a director is I look for not necessarily like what's the most comedic moment I can milk out of this, but as an observationist, as like an observational comic in a way, I can basically cull details out of what could be an average conversation between three dudes, but it could find out what it could really be about and say like, whatever. One of you really needs to take a shit. Okay, go. Let's just do it. So we're just sitting here, and playing with the details of very human stuff. So I don't know. I've always been a funny kid, and I try to bring it into my work. But I think my improvisational nature is what makes the directing good. Yeah. I think, and that's what the actors seem to like. Is I'm a good actor myself. People respect the way I communicate. I don't micromanage, hopefully, too much.
You're an actor's director.
I'm an actor's director. Definitely not technically proficient. I'm like, what's that lens? But
there's nothing wrong with that.
That's why you surround yourself with other people.
That's right. Yeah. Hard Eyes especially, it was like, I didn't know how to coordinate 200 people running from a serial killer at a drive-through or a drive-in.
You were in it, though.
I was in it.
I saw you, and I was like, that's him. He's like, hey.
But my AD department was some of the best in the world, and they did it. My cinematographer, my camera operator, you just surround yourself with rad folks. Totally.
My fiance had that like Leonardo DiCaprio like moment where like when she saw you like there he is. Yeah.
It's an honor for that meme to be used in my regard.
So obviously, you're at minimum a triple threat. You're a writer, you're a performer, you're a director. Is there one you prefer over the other, or is it just whatever it calls for, like.
Man, these days I mean, directing is just what seems to be leading the charge.
Right.
But I love it all. I love about writing that it's a very singular, solitary gig, but also recently as I'm working with more writing partners, I love the writing collaboration. I haven't had it in quite a while. And especially as a filmmaker, by nature of it, it's especially collaborative because all my writing partners right now for projects I can't talk about yet are all like, well, it's going to end up with you, so I'm here to make your vision work. And I'm naturally very collaborative, so I love that. And acting, I love, it's not fair to say I love taking a back seat because an actor's job is very important.
Yes.
But an actor is a cog. An actor is not the center of the universe. An actor is a teammate, and I love being a team player in that regard. Also, just selfishly, like working with other filmmakers, working with someone like Travis Stevens, who directed me in A Wounded Fawn, or Noah Segan, who did Blood Relatives, which I also produced. It's on Shudder as well. Watching other directors direct and going like, man, I'm gonna steal that way of phrasing, that directorial phrasing for my next film, or I'm not gonna do that, but I will take this, or I will, just kind of call different things through my adventures.
So what's next for you? I know you said you can't talk about all the projects,
if there's,
but it's like, is there anything you can drop?
Even
like,
abstractly.
Hey,
I can say I have projects with, wildly, insanely, I have 5 different projects that are all paying.
That's important.
In
That's important.
Development, writing world. One with Mattel.
Nice.
You're hearing it first.
Oh,
one with Paramount.
right.
You're hearing
Exclusives.
it first.
Yeah.
One with
Exclusives.
Miramax.
Nice.
One with Lionsgate. And one with Pressman Film. With Sam Pressman's basically carry on the legacy of his father with this incredible effort of filmmaking. They just had a film at Venice called Dead Man's Wire, and I'm just grateful to be making a living doing what I'm doing, because it's a terrible time for artists right now. And so my goal is to just hire as diversely as I can, and people who don't look like me. A lot my co-writers right now on 2 features are women. Just sending the elevator down when I can, because it's fucking tough out there, you know?
Are you saying the country's a little bit weird right now?
Oh, son, I'm not getting into too many politics. Just saying, it's a little Can you
weird.
imagine if I wore my red hat today when we're on video? 2028. I'm just kidding. Winning. I don't know why I would do a Charlie Sheen, but anyway.
Hey, he has a documentary book out now.
It's good.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
good.
it's gnarly, but it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. This is an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for
My
taking
pleasure.
the time to talk with us.
Can't wait to see what's next. Really
Yes,
can't.
definitely,
Thanks,
definitely.
homies.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. This was great. I'll reach over.
Appreciate it.
Woohoo.